House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy is still searching for the votes he needs to be elected Speaker today. And if he doesn't get them, he could become the first party leader in 100 years to lose a first-round vote, or first-round Speaker vote specifically. MSNBC's national political correspondent Steve Kornacki joins us now from the big board to take a closer look at the numbers. Hey, Steve.
How you doing? Well, let's take a look at this. I mean, we've had some of these suspenseful days in the last decade or so when they elect the Speaker, but none, I think, quite like this, at least as it's setting up right now. So let's set the picture here. Republicans right now come into this new Congress with 222 seats, Democrats with 212. There was a Democrat from Virginia who passed away between the election and today. So that is what that vacancy is for. But that means if, and we'll get into this in a second, but if every member is present today and votes in this House Speaker election, there'd be a total of 434 votes cast. You need a majority to be elected Speaker. So if everybody shows up and if everybody votes, 218 still is the magic number for Kevin McCarthy. And you can see with 222 Republicans, it doesn't leave him much margin for error. He could basically survive in this scenario 4 defections. Well, here's the problem for McCarthy. There's already 5 Republicans, 5 members of his own party who are publicly, repeatedly, insistently, and still as of this morning saying they intend to vote against him and to vote for somebody else in that first ballot for Speaker. And if they stay true to that word and everybody else is there and voting, then McCarthy would fall short. The other problem for McCarthy is those 5 are not necessarily alone. There are at least 9 other Republicans who are sending signals here to varying degrees that they may vote against McCarthy on this first ballot. And again, further imperiling him. Now, one of the keys here, when I say it's a big if everybody is there, if everybody is voting, here's the rule, or at least the precedent. I'm going to zoom in here. A majority is defined as it's a majority of the total number of votes cast for a person by name. That's the key right there, because the way this vote is going to work on the floor is every member's name is going to be called and they shout out their vote. And they could say Kevin McCarthy. A lot of Republicans will say that. They could say Hakeem Jeffries. A lot of Democrats will say that. But they could say any name they want. They could say Bob Smith. The key here is if they vote for anybody by name, that counts as a vote, and that affects the math of what McCarthy needs to win. If they vote present, if they just say they're present, or if they're in the chamber and they don't vote, then that could change the denominator. Instead of there being 434 and McCarthy needing a majority of that number could come down. We've seen this a few times in recent speakers elections where the threshold has not been 218 votes. Most recently, Nancy Pelosi, just 2 years ago, the threshold was actually 214. Why? Because there were some members who weren't present. There were some members who voted present. Not everybody was there and voting. And so Pelosi actually had less than 218 and got elected Speaker last time. But again, the bottom line on this is, as you said, here it is. This is from 1923. See the date on that? December 1923. This is the last time you had a vote for House Speaker. And on the first ballot, nobody emerged with a majority. This was an incumbent House Speaker, Fred Gillette from Massachusetts. They tried 4 times that day. This is 100 years ago. He lost on the first ballot. He failed to get the majority on the first ballot. He and his allies tried 3 more times on that day. Couldn't get to a majority. They adjourned. They tried the next day. Couldn't get to a majority. Finally, it took him 9 ballots. He granted enough concessions to the rebels in his own party, and on 9 ballots, he was elected Speaker. But, I mean, that's the kind of sort of unprecedented for a century waters we might be entering if McCarthy can't secure that majority in the next couple hours.